Your story is already gripping and detailed, but there are a few areas where it can be tightened for flow, readability, and impact. Here's a revised version with minor edits for clarity, pacing, and grammar, while keeping the chilling tone intact. The name, Andrei Chikatilo, means nothing until you learn he was the most prolific serial killer in Soviet history. Our story begins not with a bang, but with a whisper, lost in the industrial sprawl of the Soviet Union in the 1970s. It begins with a missing child. 9-year-old Lena Zakotnova vanished on a cold December afternoon in 1978 in Shakhty, a gritty coal mining town in the Rostov region. She was last seen following a tall, awkward man in glasses who promised her a treat. Days later, her small, brutalized body was found in the polluted Grushevka River. The local militia launched an investigation that was frantic and fatally clumsy. They quickly arrested a local man with a petty criminal record who confessed under coercion. The case was closed. The community breathed a sigh of relief. But the real monster, the man who had lured Lena to an abandoned shed and committed unspeakable acts before dumping her body in the river, watched with quiet, smug relief. His name was Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo, a quiet, bespectacled schoolteacher, a father of 2, and a card-carrying Communist Party member. He had gotten away with murder. To understand him, one must look at the man behind the mask. Born in 1936 in Soviet Ukraine, Chikatilo's childhood was forged in horror. The Holodomor, a state-manufactured famine that killed millions. Family lore, repeated by Chikatilo, claimed his older brother had been stolen and eaten by starving neighbors. Whether true or imagined, the story seeded a dark, twisted psyche. A shy, awkward boy, plagued by health issues and nicknamed Chasha, or Mug, he yearned for connection but repelled those around him. He became a teacher of Russian language and literature, a position giving him authority over children. He married Faina in a strained and dysfunctional union. Neighbors found him odd and unkempt, with a strange, penetrating stare. Beneath the veneer of Soviet normalcy, however, seethed a terrifying sadistic and sexual fury. After Lena, Chikatilo lay dormant for 2 years, but in 1981, the compulsion returned. A 17-year-old boy, Larisa Tkachenko, disappeared. Then young Lyuba Biryuk. Bodies began appearing around Rostov-on-Don, a region soon nicknamed the Field of Wonders. Victims were young women and children, often on society's fringes, runaways, prostitutes, the homeless, those the Soviet system ignored. Chikatilo's killings were eruptions of unrestrained savagery, biting, stabbing, mutilation, targeting eyes and abdomen. He was not efficient, he was frenzied, consumed by bottomless rage. The investigation was hampered by the Soviet state itself. Before glasnost and perestroika, the KGB and militia focused on political dissent, not serial killers. Admitting a communist could commit such acts was an ideological embarrassment. Operation Forest Strip was launched, taking blood and saliva from thousands of men, hoping to match the AB blood type found on victims. Chikatilo was questioned, swabbed, and let go. He didn't fit their crude profile, a party member, a father, invisible in the most terrifying way. Years passed, 1982, 1983, 1984. The body count rose. Chikatilo expanded his territory, killing on trains and in other towns. The press was muzzled, but fear spread quietly. Investigators had a vague composite sketch and blood type, chasing a ghost. Wrongful arrests repeated the tragedy of Lena Zakotnova, but the Rostov Ripper remained free. The break came in 1990, not from forensic brilliance but strategy and patience. Lead investigator Isa Kostoyev noticed patterns: Chikatilo's preference for bus and train stations, his approach to vulnerable individuals. Kostoyev flooded Rostov transport hubs with undercover officers. Weeks passed. Then, one chilly November evening, an officer spotted a tall, shabby man lingering near the bus station. He approached young men nervously. That man was Chikatilo. Arrested not for murder, but for suspicion. A search revealed a rope, a knife, and Vaseline. Enough to hold him. Interrogations began. Chikatilo was smug, dismissive, claiming innocence. A loyal party man. Investigators needed a confession. Lead investigator Mikhail Fetisov applied a psychological approach, calmly presenting evidence, wearing him down. Days later, Chikatilo snapped. "I am a mistake of nature," he said, and began to confess. His confession was a torrent of horror. 12 years, 53 confirmed victims, perhaps more. He described luring, attacking, mutilating, even drinking blood and cannibalizing flesh. He rationalized his actions as relief for pressure in his head, reducing humans to objects. Investigators listened in stunned silence. The trial in Rostov was unlike anything post-Soviet Russia had seen. Chikatilo, disheveled and disruptive, screamed, sang Soviet anthems, and denied his confessions. Families of victims confronted him with rage. The prosecution presented confessions, forensic matches, eyewitness accounts. The defense argued insanity. Psychiatric evaluation found him sane and aware. The verdict was guilty on 52 counts of murder. Death. On February 14, 1994, in Novocherkassk prison, Chikatilo was led to a soundproofed execution chamber. His final words, "I am not afraid of death. I am afraid of what comes after." A single shot ended the life of the Rostov Ripper. Justice, delayed for decades, was finally delivered. But for the families and the nation, the scars remained. The most terrifying monster was not mythical. It was the quiet, unassuming man next door, a wolf in the blandest of sheep's clothing. Evil often hides in plain sight.